Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be breaking down Silver Centurion, and unfortunately, annoyingly, he actually looks freaking good, and that makes me even more annoyed. He actually looks kind of like what Iron Man Infinity War could have or should have been, with a sprinkle of Guardian added into him. Now ultimately I do not know how well it is all going to come together, because there are some worrisome aspects to his kit, but let's break it down and then figure it out. Now, strength, damage, and utility. Silver Centurion is able to deal a lot of damage under certain circumstances, but he always has a good amount of utility to support him. He does not trigger critical effects, but he plays shocks instead. Right, anyways, let's actually break down the abilities. So obviously he's a tech champion with good prestige. That's not game breaking, but yeah. So Silver Centurion armor. Start the fight with one indefinite armor buff, increasing armor rating by 700. If this buff is removed for any reason, it re-triggers after 10 seconds. While the above armor buff is active, Silver Centurion becomes immune to bleed and shock effects. So that's pretty much the way Guardian works. And yeah, so he's a tech champion with an active armor buff and pseudo bleed and shock immunity. There we go. Now he has ability Lock On. To ready Lock On and Silver Centurion, you must remain near his opponent for 12 seconds. As an attacker, moving away from the opponent before readying the Lock On will cause progress to be lost over time. So basically, you kind of want to stay close to your opponent and corner them and stuff like that. Once Lock On is ready, it will be activated by throwing any special attack, and it is paused while standing near opponents. The active Lock On lasts 2 seconds only, keep that in mind, but each full bar of power adds 1 second to its duration. This duration is doubled for defenders, because of course it is, because we're not having hard enough time already fighting against champions. Lock-on lasts 25% longer against mutants and 25% shorter against cosmics. Fair enough. Plasma effects are paused while lock-on is on. That's right, he has plasma, and he accesses it a lot quicker and easier than Iron Man Infinity War. It really feels like just a buffed Iron Man Infinity War, to be honest, for most aspects of it, which makes it more annoying. So in many fights, I'm not going to read developers' notes, honestly. I'm kind of fed up with them a bit. Whenever Silver Centurion would strike with a critical hit, he instead inflicts a shock debuff that lasts for 3 seconds. Potency scales with critical damage rating. So that's fair enough. So he doesn't crit, but he inflicts shocks on opponent. But those shocks are also important because he can combine them into plasmas. Lock-on is not active. Inflicting shock into an incinerated opponent or vice versa will fuse these two effects into a plasma debuff that has the properties of both. Plasma effect lasts for 12 seconds, so it's a fairly decently long duration plasma. So cool. Finish combo with a light attack, Heat Punch. While Lock-on is not active, inflict an Incinerate debuff, dealing 345 energy damage over 12 seconds. This effect also removes the perfect block chance, blah blah blah. So here you go. You can basically place these plasmas just by landing combos. Finishing with light attack and landing critical hits, inflicts incinerates, inflicts shocks. That is kind of what you would hope Iron Man Infinity War can do, but no. Silver Centurion can. And by the look of it, he definitely has a potential to be a good champion. It all depends on how practical his kit is going to be, because on paper it looks insane. Okay, second medium hit, Plasma Blast. While locked on, deal a burst of 690.3 energy damage per stack of plasma. So that's going to help you to access extra damage whilst you're locked on. Basically, whilst you're not locked on, you want to finish combos with light. Whilst you're locked on, you want to finish combos with mediums. Heavy attack. Inflict a non-stacking slow debuff for 10 seconds, reducing the ability accuracy of the opponent's unstoppable and evade effects. Of course, let's give this guy a slow as well and make him first, I think, tech champion with slow, therefore automatically desirable. Man. Ah, man. He looks like a great champion, honestly, he does. The only worry I have is how practical it's going to be to keep his plasmas active. Right. On activation, if lock-on is active, it is refreshed. Of course it is. Inflict a heal block debuff, preventing the opponent from recovering health for 10 seconds. Sure, cool. If the opponent is under the effect of regeneration effect, heal block is passive and lasts 15 seconds instead. Cool. Special 2. On activation, if locked on, all plasma effects are refreshed, of course. While locked on, if the opponent has 5 stacks or more of plasma, the last hit deals a burst 2,301 energy damage for each stack of plasma. If the opponent is under 5 stacks of plasma, inflict 3 stacks of plasma instead. So 3 stacks of plasma, probably decently good damage. If lock-on is not active, the last hit inflicts plasma debuff. Based on the last hit is landed over 12 seconds. The potency of this effect increases with critical damage rating. So basically, Special 2 flat out gives you plasmas no matter what, whether you locked on or not, and refreshes all of them. Activate lock-on if the conditions are not met. Cool, so that's activate lock-on. Simple, straightforward. Click the slow debuff for 28 seconds, reducing the ability accuracy. Well, we know what slow does. So that's a very, very long slow, which is cool. And lastly, inflict the power drain debuff that removes 1 bar of power plus an additional 25% of a bar of power for each stack of plasma over 10 seconds. So this basically lets you throw that special 3 no matter what. And that gives a huge, huge amount of power increase to this guy, because you can push opponent to level 3 whilst they are in the corner, drop your own level 3, lock on them, and keep power draining them and stay nearby them, and they are slowed so they can't evade or go unstoppable. This is a very, very potent special 3. It really is. Probably you will finish out most of the fights if you just get to your level 3, because opponent can't evade, opponent can't be unstoppable, they will not throw their level 3, and you get your lock on, which lets you deal a ton of damage. So there we go. And signature ability, Centurion's personal shock and plasma debuffs become passives, and their duration is increased by 25%. Of course they are how. So it's actually a very important ability immediately from the get-go. Also, while locked on, block proficiency is increased by 3,000. That's huge. So he's going to become a very tanky boy when locked on. So you can just stand by the opponent and take all the hits in the block, still keeping your plasma paused. Synergy bonuses, some of them are really, really good ones as well. I'll break down some quick ones. Critical damage rating is increased by 371. That is with himself, so he's very good to have on the team by himself. So that makes him even better as a character. Silver Centurion, while locked on, special attack 1 inflicts energy vulnerability, decreasing energy resistance by 15%. Cool. The rest of these bonuses are neat, but not too potent, so I'm not going to discuss them too much. Asgardian Republic, and these only benefits the Thors. They basically Thor gets a shock debuff, landing special attacks. Thor Jane Foster, shock effects last 25% longer. Heavy attacks inflict shock debuff, dealing 50% for Thor Ragnarok. All those champions aren't really used that much. And Captain America's can go unstoppable when opponents are immune to stun effects. That's kind of interesting. Pet Rivals. Now, this one is very good, actually. Silver Centurion. If opponent's suffering from 5 stacks of plasma, special attack inflicts special attack 2 inflicts an extra plasma. So again, more plasmas. Why not? Gain 20% attack rating during special 1, unique synergy. But it is with Mole Man, so this synergy actually legitimately can be used. So it could make a very good team of Guardian, Silver Centurion, and Mole Man, and it's going to make Mole Man significantly better because of increased critical damage rating, and Mole Man has guaranteed crits, and it would be a very, very sweet team. I'm actually very, very interested in this champion. Right, so what do you think about it? I think he's going to be a good champion. I think it might not be practical to use him in all of the matchups. He's going to be great in Realm of Legends, where you don't have to worry about opponent's level 3s, but in general, I do like his kit a lot. There's a ton of utility. We have heal block, we have slow, we have power control, we have a ton of damage over time, we have no crits. So it is very well possible that he will easily land himself within top 5 of tech class immediately. Now, where he will land in the tech class entirely depends on how good his numbers come together, how realistic is that playstyle. But I do have quite high hopes for the champion, as he does look to be potentially the best champion released this year so far. I have not read Jabari Panther's abilities yet, but this guy seems to have potential of a damage and utility powerhouse if he has good numbers. So obviously, this is just me reading abilities on paper. All of this might not be accurate based on how well that text translates to the game. So keep that in mind. But I am immediately interested in the character based on his ability kit. I think he is going to be a valuable addition to everybody's roster. I do think he looks like basically an OP version of Iron Man, Infinity War, and Guardian. I think he pretty much has the best of both characters, and it will be interesting to see how well it is to play him. So yeah, I'll grind for him. I'll maybe spin some cows for him now that there are increased chances. But yeah, that is about it. Let me know what you guys think about this guy, and I shall catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the